So, among the awards that the Army gave me for showing up are two medals. One of them's called the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, and the other one's called the Global War on Terrorism something something medal. It's the GWAT and the GWAT something, the expeditionary and the whatever. They're both about the global war on terrorism. Yesterday in New Orleans, there was an act that used terrorism as a tactic. And of course, your FBI, under the Joe Biden administration, didn't even have the integrity to put a decent human being out in front and call it what it was. First, they tried to deny it was an act of terror. Well, you know what? It wasn't an act of terror. Let me explain. In World War II, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime, the National German Socialist Worker Party, the Nazis, sent bombs and bombs and bombs to London, what they called the Blitzkrieg. And World War II was not a global war on Blitzkrieg. It was World War II, and the enemy was the Nazis and the Axis powers, the Imperial Japanese. The war that we fight today, as well articulated by Sebastian Gorka, as he came on and did a tremendous short video, which I hope that this one will go here and there as well. The war that we fight today is a global war, but it's not a war on terrorism. Terrorism's a tactic. It's not an enemy. The war is against global Islamic jihad. Islamic jihad is a real thing. A poll was done not too terribly long ago in which 26% of young Islamic males believe it is okay to kill to defend or advance Islam. Now, to be very fair, not all Muslims are radical Muslims. Not. I've been in the Middle East. They don't all believe that. But in my humble opinion, they're not very good Muslims because the Quran teaches them to kill. And anybody who says anything different is lying to you. Jihad is part of Islam. Now, it's time that Americans had the courage to stand up and face it because it's a real threat. And Canada right now, literally right now, there was an interview in Canada with just your local Muslim on the street who talked about, do you want Sharia law in Canada? And he was very honest. He said, oh, we're going to have Sharia law in Canada. You know why? Because the Muslims are outbreeding the Canadians at a rate of about 7-1. So in about 2060, and if you can read this in Mark Stein's great book, America Alone, America is the only nation left on the earth that has enough population replacement of Judeo-Christian population to stave off Islamic expansionism. And make no mistake about it, the goal of Islam is conquest. If you are not a Muslim, you are an infidel. So the act yesterday was not an act of terror. It was an act of Islamic jihad with an ISIS flag and all that. Now, this is not something that I could say as an Army chaplain. And you better not say it. You better say all religions are on the same equal footing. They're not. They're not. And anybody who's a Christian who says all the religions are on the same equal footing is lying about their own faith. There is one faith in the world, one religion, one true religion that has a Savior that claims to be the way, the truth, and the life, and himself truth incarnate, and that's Christianity. And there's one nation in the history of this world, one, that's got a chance to lead into the future and to stop the incredible evil that we have been facing. And Islam is a big part of it, although not the only one, I am sorry to say. So, we're not facing, words matter. We don't have a migrant crisis. We have an illegal alien invader crisis. Words mean things. They frame reality. They contain nuances and applications. Yesterday was not an act of terror. It used terror as a tactic. It was an act of Islamic jihad. And it is time to call it what it is. Words have meaning. They have power. Stand and fight. There is much work to be done. January 20th is coming, and there is much work to be done. God bless America.